Hi, this is Mark, author of Embracing Lilith, and today I'm reading from the Embracing Lilith Myth, Part 10. There are 9 previous chapters to this, so if you want to start from the beginning, you need to go back and find Part 1. This is a reading from the myth that is in my book called Embracing Lilith. It's a combination of all the myths of Lilith from various cultures. And remember, it's a myth, so it's not supposed to be how things exactly happened. Chapter 9. Lilith would come and copulate with him and bear children. Zohar 3:76b. I didn't take physical form, wanting to stay somewhat hidden. I couldn't bear to face either Adam or Eve after what had happened. Yes, I had hated them, but no one deserved the suffering they had endured. I found myself getting angrier and angrier. How could Yahweh Elohim allow this to happen? Weren't they supposed to be all-knowing, all-seeing, and all-powerful? What unfeeling despots they must be to do nothing. As mad as I was at Yahweh, I felt even more upset with Elohim because she hadn't even bothered to show up to comfort her children. I no longer hated Adam and Eve, and in fact, I had experienced a great surge of sympathy for them. I had wanted them to hurt, but this was too much. After a few days of watching over the couple, I sensed a presence coming close. As he stepped into my vision, I recognized him. Before me stood Samiel in spirit form, but looking very much as he did the last time I'd seen him in the land of Nod. I realized I no longer feared him. In fact, I seethed with so much anger that rage possessed me completely. I screamed at him, "Do you see what you have wrought with your unthinking interference in these people's lives?" He looked at me with absolutely no emotion. "What do you mean?" I glared at him with as much fury as I could, hoping to cause some type of reaction. I screamed, fathering Cain, who then went on to kill his brother and destroy his family. "Oh, that," was his only reply. I shook my head, completely at a loss for words. He smirked, saying, "It was so easy. I just took Adam's appearance, and that cow Eve let me do anything I wanted with her. It was probably the best sex she ever had." He continued, "Have you become so weak that you don't see this is exactly what you wanted? They are destroyed. Yahweh Elohim has lost their precious children to grief. Everything I did was for you." "For me? I never wanted this. How dare you blame me for this catastrophe? When you split us into two beings, your greatest desire was to make the man and woman pay and to cause as much pain to Yahweh Elohim as possible. I am the fulfillment of that desire." I fell to the ground sobbing. This was my fault, all my fault. I had been so selfish as to want to have a partner, and in my grief, I had created this monster. How would I ever pay for my mistake? In my devastation, I totally forgot Samuel's presence. I had blotted out everything around me, completely consumed by the horror of my existence. I barely heard him say, "When you were done with your tantrum and realized this is what you wanted, I'll be waiting. I'm going to go to my son. At least he knew what he wanted and was willing to act on it." And he was gone. I don't know how long I stayed there alone, lost in despair, but finally I pulled myself together. I knew only I could do something about this situation. Yahweh Elohim certainly were not going to help. Yahweh only appeared when he wanted to pass out judgment, and Elohim was nowhere to be found. I returned to spirit form and headed to Adam and Eve's dwelling. I found them both inside, barely functional in separate sides of their home. It appeared they were each doing the bare minimum to survive. I went to Adam first and waited for night. While he slept, I laid down next to him and took the solid form of Ne'ama. I used my powers to make sure he stayed only half lucid, so he wouldn't be alarmed by having a woman in his bed. I laid with him and comforted him for hours. At some point, my presence began to sexually arouse Adam. As he reached for me, I couldn't deny him this one pleasure. We mated. Hopefully you enjoyed that, and I'll be back with another segment.